My brothers and sisters, in life you will meet all kinds of people. Some will lift you, inspire you, support you, and pray for you. But others will envy you, try to pull you down, mock you, spread negativity, and even become toxic to your peace. This is part of the test of life. Allah never promised us a journey free of obstacles, but He did promise us something far more beautiful. That those who remain patient for His sake will be protected, elevated, and rewarded in ways they cannot imagine. Today, I want to remind you of 7 beautiful things Allah does for the patient, especially the one who is dealing with envy, negativity, and toxic people. Patience brings Allah's special protection in ways that are subtle, powerful, and often completely unseen by the human eye. When a believer faces envy, negativity, and toxic behavior from others, it is natural to feel shaken, wounded, or overwhelmed. But in those very moments, when you choose to remain patient for the sake of Allah, something extraordinary happens behind the scenes. Allah Himself takes charge of your protection. He shields your heart, guards your dignity, and prevents the harm directed toward you from reaching you in the way others intended. The envy of people is real, their negativity can be heavy, and their toxic attitudes can drain your energy. Yet Allah's protection is far greater than their plots, and His support is stronger than their intentions. When someone envies your blessings, they may wish to see you fall, but patience invites Allah's mercy, and His mercy becomes a shield that blocks their harmful wishes. You might not even realize how many times Allah diverted the ill intentions of others, how many words He prevented from harming you, or how many situations He turned in your favor. People may try to spoil your name, spread rumors, or break the goodness you are trying to build, but Allah protects the reputation of the patient. He allows truth to rise and falsehood to drown. He allows sincerity to shine and dishonesty to expose itself. The believer who remains patient never loses, because Allah Himself becomes their defender. Sometimes Allah's protection appears through silence. When you remain patient and refuse to respond with anger or revenge, Allah takes your side in a way far more powerful than anything you could have done. A person might insult you, but Allah removes respect for them from the hearts of others. Someone may try to humiliate you, but Allah honors you with peace and dignity. Someone may speak negativity about you, but Allah fills your life with people who see your goodness and support your efforts. This is how Allah defends the patient. By turning people's hearts in your favor without you having to fight for yourself. At times, Allah's protection comes by removing you from places where harm was growing. You might lose a friend you trusted, but later you discover that their envy was destroying your peace. You may be pushed out of a circle you once valued, only to find out later that their hearts were filled with negativity. What seemed like loss was actually Allah protecting you from deeper hurt. Patience helps you accept these moments without frustration, knowing that Allah sees what you don't see. Allah's protection is also emotional and spiritual. Patience calms your heart, slows your reactions, and stops you from absorbing the poison of toxic words. The heart of a patient believer becomes harder for negativity to penetrate. The more patient you become, the more Allah strengthens you. You begin to recognize that not every battle deserves your energy, not every insult deserves your reply, and not every envious person deserves space in your mind. This inner protection is one of Allah's greatest gifts. It allows you to walk through storms without breaking, to hear negativity without accepting it, and to witness toxic behavior without letting it shape your character. The beauty of Allah's protection is that it is constant, precise, and perfectly tailored to your situation. It comes at the right time, in the right way, and with wisdom far beyond human understanding. People may plan, they may try, they may scheme, but Allah's plan always prevails. And when you respond with patience, you align yourself with His divine plan rather than the chaos people bring. Patience is not just a virtue, it is a spiritual weapon, a shield and a declaration that your trust is in Allah alone. When you hold on to patience, Allah holds on to you, and there is no protection greater than that. Allah strengthens the heart of the patient in a way that transforms the entire inner world of a believer. When you face envy, negativity, or toxic behavior from others, the natural response of the human heart is to feel shaken. You may feel hurt by their words, discouraged by their attitudes, or unsettled by the pressure they create. But the moment you turn to patience, the moment you choose restraint over reaction, trust over fear, and calm over anger, Allah begins to fortify your heart. This strengthening is not loud, not dramatic, and not visible to those around you. It happens quietly, gently, and consistently until you suddenly realize you are no longer the same person who used to be affected by every comment or every negative glance. And Allah strengthens your heart. You begin to feel a sense of stability that does not depend on people. You no longer rely on their validation, their praise, or their approval to feel secure. Instead, a deep internal firmness settles inside you, a firmness that comes from knowing Allah is with you. This inner strength helps you stay balanced even when others attempt to destabilize your peace. You learn to respond to harshness with wisdom, to meet negativity with maturity, and to meet envy with humility. People's behavior may try to shake your emotional foundation, but Allah makes your heart rooted, grounded, and resilient. This divine strengthening shows itself in the way you handle challenges. Before patience, a negative comment might have ruined your day. But after Allah strengthens your heart, the same comment becomes meaningless. Before patience, a toxic person's behavior might have bothered you deeply. But now you see their actions as a reflection of their own struggles, not a reflection of your worth. This shift is not something you force. It is something Allah places inside you because of your patience. He gives you a heart that is no longer easily wounded, a mind that is no longer easily manipulated, and a soul that no longer absorbs the poison of negativity. Allah also strengthens your heart by giving you clarity. He helps you see situations as they truly are, not as they appear in moments of emotional turbulence. When you are patient, you stop reacting impulsively. You stop assuming the worst. You stop letting people's negativity enter your system. Instead, Allah allows you to understand their intentions, their flaws, and their insecurities with a calm and clear mind. This clarity is a powerful form of strength because it prevents you from being trapped in confusion or emotional chaos. The strengthening of the heart also brings emotional independence. When Allah strengthens you, you no longer crumble under pressure or collapse under criticism. You rise above it with a quiet dignity. You learn to detach from harmful people without hatred, to forgive without forgetting your boundaries, and to walk away without feeling guilty. Toxic people lose the power they once had over your emotions because Allah fills your heart with something far greater than their negativity. He fills it with peace, patience, and a sense of purpose. In the moments you feel overwhelmed and silently ask Allah for relief, He responds by placing tranquility in your chest. That tranquility is not the absence of problems, it is the ability to stay calm despite them. That is the true strength. Allah gives the patient. It is the type of strength that helps you sleep peacefully even when others try to disturb your life. It is the strength that helps you smile even when someone tries to break your spirit. And it is the strength that allows you to move forward confidently, knowing that your heart is protected and empowered by the one who created it. This strengthening is one of Allah's greatest gifts. It turns pain into growth, pressure into wisdom, and tests into spiritual elevation. And the more patient you are, the stronger your heart becomes, until one day you look back and realize the very things that once hurt you now cannot touch you because Allah has fortified you from within. Allah elevates the believer who responds with dignity. And this elevation is one of the most beautiful outcomes of patience. When you face envy, negativity, and toxic behavior, your nafs naturally wants to react, defend, argue, or prove something to people. But when you choose patience instead, when you choose dignity over retaliation, silence over unnecessary conflict, and trust in Allah over the approval of people, Allah begins raising your rank in ways you may not even realize. What people intend as harm becomes a means of your spiritual growth. What they say to bring you down becomes the very reason Allah lifts you up. This elevation is not limited to one area of your life. It touches your heart, your character, your reputation, and even your hereafter. Every moment you stay patient becomes a seed planted with Allah. You may not see the result immediately, but Allah is constantly arranging your growth For every insult you ignore, Allah writes a reward. For every unfair comment you choose not to respond to, Allah grants you peace. For every toxic person you rise above, Allah grants you maturity and wisdom. You begin to walk with a confidence that doesn't need validation, because it comes from knowing that Allah sees your restraint. This is dignity. And when you maintain your dignity, Allah elevates you in the sight of the angels, in the sight of the righteous, and even in the sight of those who once opposed you. This elevation also appears in your character. People may try to provoke you, hoping to see you lose control, but Allah grants you calmness and self-respect. That calmness does not mean you are weak. It means you have grown. Toxic individuals expect their words to shake you, but your patience becomes a barrier that prevents their negativity from entering your heart. Over time, they begin to realize that you cannot be swayed or destroyed by their behavior, and this realization itself becomes a victory for you. Allah elevates your character by teaching you how to handle people with grace, how to maintain boundaries without anger, and how to protect your peace without becoming harsh. Another form of elevation is the respect Allah places in the hearts of others for you. Even if some people envy you, others begin to admire your patience and calmness. People notice the way you hold yourself, the way you respond, the way you stay consistent in your values. They see strength in your silence, dignity in your behavior, and wisdom in your choices. That respect is not something you ask for. It is something Allah grants you because of your patience. Even those who once spoke negatively about you may one day acknowledge your dignity, even if they never admit it aloud. The elevation Allah gives also protects your reputation. When others spread negativity, Allah reveals the truth in the long run. He exposes the insincerity of those who wronged you and highlights your sincerity through your actions. Time becomes your witness and patience becomes your proof. The more dignified your response, the faster negativity loses its effect. When you rely on Allah instead of arguing with people, Allah Himself becomes your defender. And when Allah defends you, no one can discredit you. Finally, the greatest elevation is in the hereafter. A single moment of patience can erase years of sins. A single insult endured for Allah's sake can build a palace in Jannah. A single negative person you handled with dignity can raise your rank to levels you never imagined. On the day of judgment, those who harmed you will not be able to harm you again, but the patience you showed toward them will stand as light, reward, and honor for you. That is true elevation. Elevation that lasts forever. So each time you face negativity or toxic behavior, remember that dignity is not for them, it is for Allah. And every time you choose the higher path, Allah lifts you higher. Sometimes the presence of toxic people in your life is not a punishment, but a sign that Allah is preparing you for something greater. When Allah removes certain individuals from your journey, it may feel painful at first, especially if they were people you trusted, cared for, or believed in. But with patience, you begin to see that every removal was actually a divine rescue. Toxic people drain your energy, weaken your confidence, poison your thoughts, and disturb your peace. They make you doubt yourself, burden your heart, and pull you into negativity. Yet Allah, in His wisdom, does not let them remain in your life longer than they are meant to. When you remain patient during these moments of detachment, Allah gently moves you away from what harms you and toward what benefits you. Often, we hold on to people because of emotional attachment, history, or fear of being alone. We overlook the signs of their envy, their negativity, and their unhealthy behavior. But Allah sees the conversations you never heard, the intentions you never knew, and the harm you never noticed. When He removes someone, He does so with full knowledge of what you are being protected from. Patience helps you trust this unseen wisdom. You begin to realize that not every loss is a loss, and not every departure is a tragedy. Sometimes Allah takes people out of your life because their hearts were not pure toward you. Their presence would have eventually harmed your peace, your faith, or your future. Their negativity would have polluted your progress. Their envy would have damaged your blessings. So Allah removes them before they can cause deeper wounds. With patience, you also gain the clarity to understand that distance is sometimes a gift. Being away from toxic people allows your heart to heal, your mind to breathe, and your soul to recover. You start rediscovering your strength, your confidence, and your purpose. You begin to focus on what matters instead of getting caught in unnecessary conflicts. You stop absorbing the negativity that once consumed you. Allah uses the space to rebuild you into a stronger, wiser, and more peaceful version of yourself. And once you grow, you realize you could never have grown in an environment filled with jealousy and toxicity. Another blessing that comes with patience is that Allah replaces toxic people with those who bring goodness into your life. You meet people who support you instead of criticizing you, who pray for you instead of competing with you, who uplift you instead of draining you. You find company that aligns with your values and respects your boundaries. This replacement doesn't always come immediately. It requires sabr because Allah introduces better people only when your heart is ready to appreciate them. But when they come, you understand exactly why He removed others earlier. Patience also teaches you that not every reaction is worth your energy. Toxic people thrive on conflict and drama. They want you to respond, to argue, to defend yourself, to fall into their negativity. But when you choose patience, you deny them the satisfaction of dragging you down. Your silence becomes a form of strength. Your calmness becomes a form of victory. Your refusal to engage becomes a message that your peace is more valuable than their opinions. Through patience, Allah teaches you emotional discipline, the ability to walk away without hatred and to let go without noise. In the end, Allah's plan for removing toxic people is never random. It is part of shaping your destiny, protecting your heart, and purifying your journey. What felt painful at first becomes a blessing you eventually thank Allah for. With patience, you see that every removal made room for something better, and every separation was a step toward the life Allah wants for you. Patience opens unseen doors of guidance and clarity in a believer's life, especially when faced with envy, negativity, and toxic behavior. When your mind is clouded by hurt or pressure, it becomes difficult to see situations for what they truly are. You may misjudge people, misunderstand intentions, or act based on emotion rather than wisdom. But the moment you choose patience, something remarkable begins to happen. Your heart settles, your mind slows down, and your perception becomes more accurate. This clarity is not something you develop on your own. It is something Allah places within you as a reward for trusting Him during your tests. Through patience, Allah allows you to see beyond the surface. You begin to understand the real reasons behind the behavior of toxic people. What once looked like hostility or hatred might be rooted in their insecurity, jealousy, or unresolved struggles. What once felt like a personal attack may turn out to be a reflection of their own inner turmoil. When you are patient, you stop taking every action personally, and you start seeing situations with a more mature and composed perspective. This clarity protects you from unnecessary emotional reactions and helps you make decisions based on truth rather than impulse. Allah also guides you toward the right people when you are patient. When your heart is calm, you recognize who genuinely cares for you and who does not. You understand who deserves access to your life and who only brings negativity. Patience helps you identify those who uplift you emotionally and spiritually, and those who drain your energy with constant complaints, criticism, or jealousy. Over time, you learn to choose your company wisely. You learn to distance yourself from those who disrupt your peace, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. You learn to value sincerity, honesty, and kindness, qualities that become clearer when the noise of negativity fades away. With patience, your decisions become more guided. Instead of reacting to toxic behavior with anger or frustration, you begin to respond with wisdom. You wait before speaking, you think before acting, and you pause before making judgments. This pause is where Allah places guidance. It is in that silence that you receive clarity. You begin to see which battles are worth fighting, which conversations should be avoided, and which situations require silence rather than confrontation. This level of self-control is a gift from Allah, and it is one of the greatest signs of maturity and spiritual growth. Patience also guides you away from paths that would have harmed you. Sometimes you want something so badly that you overlook the warning signs. You may try to force a friendship, a connection, or an opportunity that is not good for you. But when you are patient, Allah exposes things you were blind to. He shows you the reality of people. He reveals hidden intentions. He saves you from pursuing paths that would have broken you. You may not understand these signs immediately, but patience gives you the ability to accept that Allah's plan is better than your desires. Another form of clarity Allah grants through patience is the ability to recognize your own worth. When you are surrounded by negativity, it becomes easy to forget who you are. Toxic people can make you question your value. Envious people can make you doubt your blessings. Negative voices can make you feel small.